What's up, everyone? It's Tony here from WrestlingTradingCards.com, and I'm welcome once again by Paul and Ann from the Wrestling Card Price Guide. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, good, brother. Nice to see you, Tony. It seems like it's been a while.
It has been a while. I know we've been busy lives, me
Yeah,
doing stuff over here and you doing stuff over there, man. But you know what? We're going to be together here in a few weeks.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Awesome.
Chicago's coming up in a few weeks. Can't wait. Nice to get away from here and see you. So we're
Same
here
here.
to
I
talk
can't
about
wait.
wrestling cards from this is our three count episode, April to June 2026. So this is our second quarterly of the year.
Yes. So we've got some interesting notes here because I was looking over the notes that you had sent me, and I don't remember if I think we have in the past. We've had a top 10 sales before where you needed to crack five figures to be in the top 10 before. Is this the first time we've had that, or have we had that before?
This is the top 10 of all top 10 quarters. We've had 10 five-figure plus sales, which we've never ever had in the hobby before. Now,
Okay, that's
mind
what I
you, it's
thought.
all yeah, it's all been precipitated by royalty and the WrestleMania patch cards. You know, you take those out of it. Those are the ones that are pushing us over, and we'll
It
we'll
doesn't
we'll
really,
go through for
the
the.
way I look at those kind of things, it doesn't really matter. It is what it is. It's
It is
there.
what it
So it's
is.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's get right into it then. So this was the highest selling quarter in the history of wrestling trading cards. The dollar amount was incredible. You know, we our number 10 was at 10 grand. So we'll start there and then you give me your thoughts on each card as we go along and then we'll talk about what's new and exciting with everything else. So in May, we had a 2025 royalty Stephanie Vacker auto booklet, the one of one. And most of these that go for five figures are one of ones, and that sold for 10 grand on the nose. Um, also in May, we had the 2025 Tiffany Stratton liquid gold royalty card. That sold for 10 grand on the nose.
Those are both of those, by the way, are incredible that we have a couple of first timers in the top 10 like this with
Yeah.
these kind of numbers, and it just shows you that you remember back in the Fleer era where everything was completely dominated by females. There was
Yes.
really nothing male wise that was at that time selling for what we considered big numbers back then. But
Right.
now, we've got, so many variations of cards from old and new that have a lot of men who dominate the top sales. So now we have the new generation of talent, the Tiffany Strattons, the Stephanie Vaqueras, the Sol Rucas, things like that, that are really starting to command
Yeah,
some
man.
big dollars. So it's exciting to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It harkens back. You remember then when Fleer used to do the dedicated diva sets? That showed you how
Yeah,
popular they were. Like, they could carry an entire set just the ladies, and they were always very popular.
I think it could be happen today too. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, probably could. They haven't done a dedicated lady set in a while, and that'd be interesting to see. Anyways, number 10, 9, 8, June 2026, tops now. Cena Punk one of one dual autographs. That's a top now card. That sold for $12,749 for dual signature one of one tops now Cena Punk. That's
Yep.
pretty.
The funny thing about that card, that card came through my door here at the store.
Oh, did it? So you saw it?
Did. Yes. The gentleman came in here and he was looking to sell it. I was interested in buying it. He said that, well, I said, we're looking to get for it. He said, my wife and I are about 15K in the hole, looking to get that. And I'm like, no.
Just conveniently.
Yeah, just
They
conveniently.
weren't 10 in the hole, they were 15 in the hole.
Yeah, 15 in the hole, he said.
Yeah.
And I said, so, I inquired and I gave him a price of what I was willing to pay for it. I said, but if you really want to get and test the market on this, I would not put it on eBay. I would take it to one of the auction houses. Okay, I gave him information, blah, blah, blah. He came back a few weeks later, said, want to know if I was still interested. I said, well, I'm still interested at my price, what I was willing to pay for it. But I
Hmm.
do recommend you take it to this auction house. And I guess he did because he just came in actually about a week ago. He came in right after the sale.
Come on, Tony, you couldn't afford a mere $12,749
Well, I mean,
for a Tops Now card.
I, I'm going to be honest. I didn't offer him that much, but I did make a fair offer.
Well, yeah, that shows you how popular these things are. If it's a one of one, you're the only guy in the world that's going to have it, and it's something special. You're going to pick. Next one on the list is a 2025 Topps Chrome, so not royalty, a Topps Chrome Rock Superfractor, one of one that sold for 13,625. Not surprising given that it's the Rock. In June, and we had a 2024 John Cena Flawless, which is back to the Panini days, a performance auto, one of one, sold for 15 grand on the nose. And I think that might have set the Cena record, but it shows you
For
that
now.
Yeah, we're going to talk about we're going to talk about Cena and records in a bit. Then in May, a guy named Hulk Hogan, 2024, Hulk Hogan Platinum Autograph, 1 of 1, $18,600. So again, you're talking Cena, you're talking Hogan. These are the guys that are gonna get the big bucks. And then the top fives, we start getting into the patches. The in June we had a 2025 Jey Uso sell for 18,600. We had a 2025 Tiffany Stratton Royal WrestleMania patch for $22,000. And
That's
then our top
incredible
three,
for her.
yeah, for her, it's wild. And our top three was, the first one was 2013 Hulk Hogan Upper Deck PMG PSA 10 that sold for 28,060, which is a fabulous number. But mind you, that card on our list of top 15 has actually done better in the past. We saw that card trade, I think, for 41,000, if I'm not mistaken, at one point. So but still high enough to make this quarter. And then the top two was number two at $38,000 was a 2025 Hulk Hogan Chrome Superfractor autograph. And then the top one, of course, was the Randy Orton WrestleMania patch, which we covered already. That went for $42,100. So the sum total of those sales, I didn't add them all together, but we've never had 10 five-figure sales, and we may not ever again. Or we might, we could see this again easily in the next quarter, but I don't think so. We're not off to a great start.
I suspect over the next couple of years, like that, even less than that, I think this is going to become more of the norm for us now. I think we've hit a certain level in wrestling cards now that five figures are going to become the norm.
Yeah, I just wouldn't expect that my number 10 is going to be a five-figure card, that I'm going to have 10 of them a month at a minimum.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be every single quarter, but I'm not going to be surprised if I see it more often.
Right. All right, well, let's get into what's new. In the WWE world, obviously we had the Topps Chrome and all the parallel derivations of it. Last time we spoke, Chrome had just come out. Royalty hadn't hit yet, but it was close. So of course on Chrome we had the first sort of offshoot was Sapphire, which we had last year, and then
Mhm.
the Cosmic Chrome. Now again, these are the same base sets, just with all sorts of funky things done. But there are certain insert sets that are unique to each product, and we're not going to get into breaking down those sets because that's done elsewhere daily on a very, very high level. So you can check that out there if you want to know specifically what the breakdowns are and all that stuff. There's also a European top set, Tony, from the UK called Topps Decade, which is more of the
Yeah.
traditional kind of set, our kind of set, not one of these premium kind of things. They're just hitting now, so we'll have more to report on that. And of course, Royalty had just hit, and Royalty is the big one with all these WrestleMania patch cards, and they sort of dominated the conversation this quarter just because of the top numbers that we were seeing on some of these cards.
Yep.
On the AEW side, Upper Deck Allure had just come out when we spoke last, so that's been a dominant set of this quarter. And they have announced 2026 AEW, the flagship set, but I don't think it's out yet. It's expected
It's
soon,
not
though.
it's not out yet. We'll get into it more if you want to later, it's like that, but it's not out yet for my
Well, what do
product
you know?
yet.
What do you know about it? I mean, for all I can tell is everyone's waiting for a checklist, and the release is supposed to
No,
be
I mean I don't
imminent.
know anything about it.
Okay.
That's just the wonderful thing in the typical upper deck par for course type of stuff. I think as last time we spoke, I got approved to be a certified diamond dealer for upper deck here at the store, which is all fine and dandy. When there's actually product for me to order, be great.
Okay.
But my products available list has been zero since the day I got approved and the day I got sent over my link and sign information. I've emailed asking for stuff, nothing at all. Um, I even gotten twice now. I've gotten promotional materials sent to me to the
So,
store here to put up on the window to certify that I'm a diamond dealer. But guess what's not in any of those packages I receive? Anything wrestling related.
so
I've got I've got posters for hockey, for golf, for Batman animated series, for their TCG game. I've got everything but AEW
so
stuff.
so you know as much about AEW cards as the people that work their booth at the National.
Correct. And trust me, I'm going to have conversations with people at the national. That's one of my primary goals this year is to have a conversation with somebody, anybody from Upper Deck to find out, do you really like to have Upper Deck AEW as a license? Because your actions say you don't.
Well,
And it really,
the response will probably be something along the lines of, "Oh, we have AEW as a license."
yeah, probably. When you have to deal with a booth babe or booth dudes like that, I'm sure they don't know anything. But I want to talk to somebody who actually works for Upper Deck that actually
Well,
knows what the hell's
there's
going on.
there is this one dude that Carlos said that sort of keeps tabs on all stuff, and he's never reached out to me to sort of say, "Hey, here I am. What do you need to know?" But I think we might have spoken to him a few years ago. It's just that all the conversation is dominated by Tops Fanatics WWE. So I just want to remind people that yeah, there's indie out there, and I'm going to bang off a few of those in a sec. But there's still Upper Deck and AEW, and
Listen, I'm
Major
going to
League.
go on record right now, and I probably said it in private. Maybe I've said it in public. I don't recall. I'm old and forget things. Um, I really hope they lose the license. I really want Upper Deck to lose the license for AEW before the mismanagement and the way they treat that product. And I really hope somebody like Panini, who actually has a passion for wrestling, picks it up.
Well, I was just going to
Because I,
mention there's a new Panini product coming out called Major League Wrestling, which is
yeah, I know.
a lesser division, and that's
Yeah,
one that I
but
have
to
no.
me, that goes to show you just how much Panini really cares about being interested in wrestling.
Yeah, I like it.
Whether it be because they're losing every license known to mankind right now to Fanatics or whatever, but they still show that they have a passion for wanting to be inside the wrestling world in some way. And I
Right.
really wish that Panini would get the AEW license. I would love to see a Select brand. I'd love to see a Prism brand. I'd love to see anything
Yeah.
because I know they would treat it with some more respect.
Well, we saw how well they
I'm
did
not a
with
mark.
WWE.
I'm not a mark for AEW. I don't watch it. I just as a collector of all things wrestling cards, really, just getting information and stuff. I think it's just such a poor, poor and mismanagement of how you handle the license like that. I'm not saying mimic and be like Tops. I'm not saying to be like Panini. I'm saying just acknowledge that you even have a goddamn product.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There's your rant of the session. You might not be a diamond, whatever they call you now.
Probably not.
Anyways, God bless Upper Deck. There are people out there that's buying your product, and give us more info so we know what the hell's going on. But
Yeah,
yeah,
come
I'm looking
on.
forward to the Panini Major League Wrestling, and there's a couple of other indie things. There was a 2026 Combat Zone Wrestling, 2026 Three Legacies series, 2026 10 years of GCW. Like GCW alone has had how many sets now? Probably 8 or 9 over the years.
Yeah.
2026 Creative Pro, 2026 Blood and Honey. So thanks as always to the fellas in the Brotherhood, specifically Armand and Mike and Nick and these guys that are on the forefront of making sure that anything that comes out, someone in the Brotherhood gets it and we get the information so that we can give it to you. And the last thing I want to mention, 2026 BBM Women's Japan. We don't talk about Japanese cards that much. We don't talk about ladies' Japanese cards that much. But every year they put out consistently 25, 24, 23. There's been a BBM's women's set and a big set, several
Yeah.
hundred
They're always big sets.
cards. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So that speaks to the culture there in Japan, and how popular specifically these BBM women's cards are because they keep making them.
Yep.
Okay, so that's what's new. We talked about prices, all these cards over 10 grand. Isn't that nice? So let's get into the first question I have for you.
Sure.
Because a lot of these sales of the patches, are what fuel the big numbers for the quarter, obviously. When your top one's at 42 grand, they had a couple in 20 grand range. My
Mhm.
question is, a couple of them fell under the $10,000 range, right? And we haven't had a big one in several weeks now. So my question is simply, are these WrestleMania royalty patches still worth what they think they are? Now, I know there's a bounty for 100 grand, but a bounty isn't anything until the card is found, the card is put up for sale, and someone actually ponies up that kind of dough.
Yeah.
Uh, was that $42,000 a bit of an overpay, in hindsight?
Maybe for that particular wrestler, maybe, but when you have all it takes, as we've always said, is two competing, guys who want it. And then all of a sudden, once someone gets outbid, ego and pride gets in the way.
Right.
And how dare you outbid me? And then it's like, you know what? Now I'm willing to overpay
That has
for what I
nothing to do
really
with the
wanted to
card,
get.
does it? Yeah, it has nothing
Yeah,
to do with
and
the
I
card,
think
and it's
that plays into it a little bit as well. But do I think that some of these talents, for what they are, I think there's some significance, some historical significance to these patches in the long term. Anyways, that's why there's such a big bounty for the Cena one. It says last WrestleMania,
right.
so that's going to hold a lot to it. Other than that, I can't think of anything else from that particular WrestleMania that makes the patch so much more desirable, other than the fact that it is a one of one of maybe a popular upper tier type wrestler.
Well,
The Jey Uso one seemed to be pretty overpriced. to me.
Yeah, like I mean, it's all a matter of opinion, obviously, but
Sure.
like when if I think a if I think a Tiffany Stratton card is worth say $30,000 and it ends up selling for $22,000, that doesn't mean that the guy that bought it got a deal. Just means I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Maybe.
That's when I've been at this business of wrestling card pricing for a long time, probably before most, and I can say definitively that no one knows everything. Like it's not an exact science by any
Oh,
stretch.
really? I
Yeah.
heard people otherwise know everything.
Oh yeah, I've heard that as well. I've had people saying, asking my opinion of value. I give it to them, and then they tell me we're wrong. Well, why did you ask? It happens to me in the world of selling houses too. Everybody knows the real estate game. Everybody knows the wrestling card game.
Sure.
Um, but I think that they got a lot of initial heat. Will they carry on at this pace? Let's see. Let's find the Cena. Let's see if the guy that put the bounty on it actually pays that kind of money. It wouldn't surprise me if it doesn't go for six figures. Like people refer to the John Cena, oh, that WrestleMania patch card is the most valuable wrestling card out there. No, it's not. It's not yet. And the Hogans, of which there's been many of them, creeping into that six-figure area, has happened by just by ground roots, people wanting the card and a lot of people wanting the card and it's selling and reselling and reselling and reselling, and God bless fanatics and their near monopolistic tendencies to, control all facets of the wrestling card business. Well, maybe that and the PSA guy. They probably, the PSA guy probably lives in Ruben's basement and they sit around and figure out, okay, we've got the monopoly here on everything. What can we do now to milk this thing for every penny it's worth? So all that promo and all that fuss, gets a lot of people thinking that these are the greatest things since sliced bread. And to a collector that really likes Randy Orton or Trish Stratus or Tiffany Stratton, great. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a retrenching on them. I'm not saying that the Cena card is or isn't worth 100 grand, but well, it's not yet. But in my opinion, like you say, the Tiffany and the Jey Uso, even the Finn Balor may have been a bit dear, in my opinion. And like I said,
Yeah, but on the flip side of this too, it's like that, and I'd argue the other points like that. Seems so many people who are into the vintagey stuff or want to defend it so religiously, uh, just don't want to acknowledge the fact that modern day wrestling
no,
cards are taking things to a new height.
yeah, you
So
got we
people
play in both
people will
worlds.
defend some of these the Hogan lovers and things like that who just want to cling to their idol so badly that they don't want to have something new and shiny replace something older.
Yeah,
And
but look at our list. The Hogan, the top
I get it.
modern
I get that
Hogans,
the
the
list
top
speaks for
Morgan,
itself.
the
I
top modern
100%
Hogans are in our list.
I get it, but I get the list speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But to sit here and just to say I'm clinging to the old guard and I'm not letting go, it's like that is just dumb. It
You
really
got to be
is.
you got to be open-minded to both. If you're truly a
100%.
wrestling card collector, you can't disregard what's happened in the modern world. You can't disregard these patch sales.
No.
They're here in
Now,
black and
the,
white.
the, the thing is that nobody can answer, not you, not me, not a collective group of people can ever answer because nobody has a crystal ball, is finding out if 40 years down the road, some of these cards that came out today are going to continue to keep holding the same value as an 82 All Stars, as an 81 Pope, all those things. Um, that's what we're going to have to figure out, but we're going to be long gone by then. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but
But it's
it'd be interesting to
we've
know.
had enough sort of longitudinal time with the vintage stuff and the Hogans in particular that it wasn't like a little blip that all of a sudden Hogan All Stars became popular and then they disappeared. A nine is going to be close to 100 grand, no matter how, to the rest of the time, God knows. But certainly for the foreseeable future.
That's because a floor was established. Once a floor is
Mhm.
established, either it's going to tank really hard, which becomes junk wax era type stuff, or
Yeah.
it continues to slowly rise.
Well, I think that's a good point. I think if that happens, the whole thing goes down.
Yeah,
If the whole hobby all of a sudden wakes up and say, "Wait a minute," these are pieces of cardboard, and and sees what's going on. But you know what? It's like the art world. You hear all the time, you know, a guy spits on a piece of fucking paper and it sells for $2 million because it's
Yeah,
an artist or something like that. So as long as there's people with money and people that want to collect and people that are into wrestling, there's going to be value. Are we at the height of a bubble that's going to come crashing down upon us? God knows. If we knew that,
that's a
then
whole different conversation.
yeah, and some people can make a cogent argument for it and against it. But
Well,
specifically,
that ties right into discussion topic number two about
hmm,
celebrity influencers.
yeah, the world has changed, right? Like again, going back to our friends over at Fanatics that run everything. They decided, well, it'd be nice if we could get breaking happening on our own channel and then sort of push that and then turn these people, give them the best product and then turn this into something where we control that end of it. And then they've done a good job of that. And,
Mhm.
we're not talking specifically breakers for wrestling, but there are a few, some great people like Run Good Life and Breaker Mayfield and Mama, Stephanie, that are doing, you know, very entertaining, enjoyable breaks. But there are some that aren't as good, that don't know what the product is, don't know how to pronounce the wrestlers' names, and wrestling isn't their main focus. They just
Mhm.
happen to be on Fanatics Live and they get a large allotment of stuff, so they throw that up. My question to you was, these are the new celebrities in the hobby because they're getting the eyeballs, right? I don't know them because I don't buy off breaks. But are they the new influencers? What they say goes. Like I'm seeing there was a time where, guys like us that had been in the hobby for years and years and spent time checklisting or collecting or doing whatever you did to keep yourself engaged within the hobby for so long. We were the guys that were always going on about wrestling cards, but now you've got, store owners, breakers, and they're getting the eyeballs and ears, right? So
Mhm.
my question is are they the sort of people that everyone's listening to?
In a way, yes.
Yeah,
You
I
think
think they
so?
are. I think they are. I think that shift has made these people the key people in the hobby now.
I think so too, but especially those, I think the ones who are going to stick around for a while too are the ones that actually know their wrestling. And
Yeah,
so when
and
you
care
just,
about the wrestling
as no,
consumer.
as you just said, you have those who can't even pronounce names right. Oh, I just got an Asuka, you know, um, so the ones who don't pronounce names correctly, those are going to be flashes in the pan
Yeah,
when it comes to wrestling stuff. That's just my prediction. I think that some of them have already proven to be that already. But those who are passionate about wrestling and really like this niche of the hobby, they are the voice of what's going forward now as far as breaks go and what's interesting in the hobby and bringing it to new people who are like, well, shit, man, you keep talking about wrestling cards all the time. It's like that on your channel. I'm going to kind of dip my toes in that right now. So I got, because a lot of these guys are breakers of all sports, all non-sport, all kinds of different things, and wrestling gets thrown in there, and they're fans because like, hey, man, I watch Monday Night Raw. I watch WrestleMania. And I bought a few boxes of stuff. We're gonna go ahead and break something tonight, and um, yeah, I think they are kind of the voice and somewhat influencers of getting new people into the hobby.
yeah, yeah. That's why I asked the question because just look at the Instagram numbers, and look at the YouTube numbers. We've been doing this for a long time, and we're still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And some of these guys are tens of thousands, and maybe they built their reputation on other product other than wrestling, but you see them do wrestling, and their breaks get a shit ton of eyeballs and a lot of
Yeah,
views. So it's not only changing the way wrestling cards get to market and the whole distribution model, it's changing our world of the community where, we're sort of at the back of the room watching these people that weren't around a year and a half ago,
yeah,
talking about what's going on in our world. Very interesting, and you can't begrudge it because that's the way of the world, like things evolve, things move. I mean, I'm sure
absolutely.
if you spoke to Blockbuster 10 years ago and said, yeah, there's this mail order company called Netflix, they would have, who, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you go from being on the stage performing to actually being in the audience watching.
Yeah, 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 exactly. So that's all I had. The last thing I like to do is just quickly you give us a sort of wrap up of what happened in the quarter at the Wrestling Guy store. Phoenix, just beyond cards, anything that sort of caught your
Growing.
eye?
That's all we keep doing is growing.
Oh,
Last numbers I checked was actually yesterday. We're at 61% over last year, this time last year.
wow.
So we continue to keep growing, which I'm very, very
So the move was
uh,
successful for sure.
the move has been very successful. People who are coming to check us out and haven't seen our new store compared to the old store are just kind of blown away by the size difference.
Yeah.
There's a lot more here to view, a lot more here to see. I've probably tripled my order sizing at this point now because I have to meet demand.
Oh, that's great.
Um, I think in 2027 we'll start looking at probably doing pre-orders and online shipping because we don't offer any shipping online at all right now. It's just a nightmare. I'm not looking forward to experiencing at this point. Um, but we're doing well. I mean, I
Good for
can't
you.
complain. And people are now coming to us. So just, I was out of town this weekend. I went to Grand Canyon with the family for the weekend. And on Friday afternoon, I get a text message, and it's our truth coming wants to come to the store to do because he's going to be in town on Sunday, yesterday as we record this, where he's performing at a theater down in Mesa, Arizona, and he wanted to promote that. And he came in here, and for only 30 minutes, man, we had like less than 2 hours of prep time, and I wasn't even here. So the
Yeah.
guys here at the store, I have an amazing crew. Alex, Nick, Nate, these guys came in here and they set everything up, got everything ready to go for him to come in here and meet fans. And we had a turnout of people who just came in and to meet Ron,
On the
Ron
dime,
Wheeling,
with no advance notice. That's crazy.
no notice like that. Um, so people are calling us coming here like that. And we have a lot going on here in Phoenix, Arizona. So stuff I can't even talk about it yet. I can't announce anything until other bodies, agencies, how you want to call them, make those announcements. But if you recall, a couple months ago, TKO made a deal with the Arizona State Athletic Commission here about a multi-year deal that's going to bring WWE, UFC, Zuffa boxing, rodeo to the state of Arizona. What those are, no announcement has been made about it at all. So online, like, we're getting a Royal Rumble, we're getting a Survivor Series, we're getting a Federation's main event. That's all speculation because
So
nothing's been said.
nothing's in stone yet.
However, I do know some stuff that's coming because I have one of the gentlemen who works on the board of directors for the state of Arizona who helped make that deal, came in here and basically wouldn't say yes to some things or no, but he alluded heavily to things that I know what we're getting here, both not just from a WWE standpoint, but then I got another phone call from someone else looking to bring people here to the store because something else is coming here via AEW.
Right.
So we have a lot going on here and a lot that I'm super excited about. And I just know that we're going to be slam busy from now through probably March, through all the way through WrestleMania. We're busy WrestleMania no matter where it's at. The people here have viewing parties.
Nice. Nice. Well,
It's just
that's wonderful news,
a lot. It's a lot. I mean, the card game is increasing. I have a whole display case, a 4-foot display case of just like top superstars, stacks of singles. Like, oh, here's a whole Hulk Hogan stack. Here's a whole Tiffany Stratton stack, and people can go through there and buy singles.
Nice. And that's
And
probably the only place for miles around that you can do that, right?
I don't know of any place anywhere in the state that does that.
Right. Right.
No one's coming. I mean, no one's come to me and said, "Oh yeah, I go to this place out in
Right.
Tucson or
Well, I think you know your competition. If there's another wrestling themed store in the state that's doing what you're doing, you'd know about them, right?
there ain't none.
Yeah.
Trust me, the ideas of expanding and becoming a franchise type business have long since left my brain because I have understood now in the almost 4 years, which is mind blowing. It's almost 4 years, 4 years of running the store that we have become a destination spot that people travel from out of town literally say that
See you.
you are one of our stops. We're coming to
Yeah.
Phoenix to do this, that, and the other. And we absolutely made the Wrestling Guy store one of our stops. We have to come there.
You're like a tourist destination. I love it.
100% tourist destination. Exactly. Hey, and you never know who's coming in. You never know.
You don't know that the phone's going to ring and it's our truth and they'll be there in 2 hours.
You never know. I got a phone call one day just out of the blue. It's Zilla Fatu. Says, hey, I'd like to come to the store.
I've heard rumors that he's going back to work and he might join the bloodline. Is that something you've heard of?
I mean, I just texted him 2 days ago to make sure that I know the rumors are like about that. And I said, are we still good to go here for
Yeah.
September? I've got him coming here September. He's like, he just says, yeet, still going.
Yeah.
So
Well, you got to jump on Danhausen, so
you never know, man. I mean, so right now we've got Dexter Loomis coming in on August 8th. I've got Kevin Nash coming in on August 30th. Got Zilla Fatu coming in September 26th and Joe Gacy on October 25th. And those are the four that I'm only allowed to talk about because I have others coming as well.
Awesome. Well, Loomis is going to be fun, right? Showing them your cards.
Yeah, everybody's kind of like, yo, how many things you getting signed by him? And I'm like, I'm probably not going to get anything signed by him
No,
other
because
than
you're
that.
not a guy that likes to sign stuff unless it was meant to be signed, you know?
Exactly. So I mean, the ceiling tile to join our ceiling of fame,
Yeah, he'll
yes.
sign that, but that might be enough.
Um, other than that, I think it's funny too. Ron signed a ceiling. He signed it a big R, and
Yeah.
then it says R Truth, R Killings, R Ron Cena, and K
All
Quick.
right. Nice. All of them. Nice, nice, nice.
That's pretty fun.
All right, we could be chatting forever. I think we've covered all the wrestling card business. I guess we're going to see each other in a couple weeks' time. We'll meet at O'Hare in the airport because we're
Yeah,
touching
and as
down around
far
the
as
same
what we're
time.
going to be doing while we're there, we really don't. For
Nothing's
me,
locked in.
I have nothing that I have. Nothing's on my agenda that I need to do. I've shifted gears since last year to be more store driven about product I'm going to get for the store. For me, this is a trip to see you primarily, and then to actually meet up with other wrestling card collectors
Yeah.
and get together. Um,
Yeah,
but
same. I
my
don't have an agenda for anything this year. And as to whether we'll be doing a panel or not, that's still to be decided. And it'll be like an art truth kind of thing. We'll let you know about it
It
a couple
probably
days
will
in
be,
advance.
and I'd be perfectly happy just doing what we did last year, where it just
Yeah.
became like a live podcast. And as far I'm good to go with that. If we don't have one at all, I'm okay with that too.
But we'll be there and we'll definitely be back afterwards. A couple of days after we touch down, we'll do this again and we'll sort of go over
Sure.
the highlights and all that jazz. But anyways, in the meantime, thank you everybody for watching and for continuing to watch us. We come back quarter after quarter and we've been doing this for a while and the world is changing around us, but we're still here and we're still
Yep.
having fun. Um, Tony, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Can't wait, brother. Um,
Yep.
that's all I got.
All right, man. And with that, I say that we are out.